All right, I'm going to start here with just a quick explanation of expanding exponents before I get to some of the negative exponents that are down here. So don't panic if I just start pretty simple, but I want to make sure we understand how exponents are made. So for example, if we have 6 to the power of 4, and some of this math I won't be able to do off the top of my head, but if we have 6 to the power of 4, my pen's just not working so well. Might have to start again. So let me make sure it's disconnected.
No problem. Anytime. You ate enough?
So 6 to the power of 4 would be 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 4 times. So the base, which is 6, is repeated 4 times. So there's my base right there, 6, and I repeat it through multiplication 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what 6 to the power of 6 means. If I were to go a little bit simpler, we go 6 times 6 times 6, and that's what 6 to the power of 3 means. So if you look here also, each step we're also dividing by 6 as you go between step by step. So if we go to 6 to the power 2, it's 6 times 6, and 6 to the power 1 would be just 6. Off the top of my head with no calculator, I know that that's 6, I know that that's 36, but I can't do 36 times 6 in my head, so I'm just going to leave it there. But each step as we go, we are dividing by 6 as we move down. So finally we get to this step where we're looking at 6 to the power of 0, and I'm just going to do that just so it's clear what I'm talking about. So it's 6 to the power of 0. It kind of gets a little tricky. So you have to look at our pattern, and each time we're dividing by 6. So again, we're going to divide by 6, which means that we're going to take 6 and divide it by 6. And 6 divided by 6 is actually equal to 1. So that's why any number to the power of 0 is 1. Now we can continue our pattern. So 6 to the power of negative 1, and this would be a negative exponent. And if I want to represent it as a positive exponent, what I would do is that I'd have to take 1. I'd have to take 1 and divide it by 6. And if we follow along in this pattern, that would be 1 divided by 6. You could also write it as 6 to the power of 1 if you needed to. I'm running out of room here, but I'll try my best. So the next one is 6 to the power of 2. Well, again, we look at our pattern, and it's 1 over 6 to the power of 2. Because, again, we just divided by 6. So we're dividing by 6, divided by 6 to get to that step. And 6 to the power of negative 3 would just be 6 to the negative 3 as a denominator over 1. So that's kind of the background of like how that all gets. So if we look at these two different exponents we've got here, the first thing I notice is I've got a negative 7 right here. So that negative 7 is an example of a negative exponent. And let's say you were asked to write the exponents. I'll just try to write that real quick. Right, exponents, let me just undo that because that's a little messy. Right, exponents as exponents with a positive value. So if I ask you to rewrite these as an exponent with a positive value, you can see right here, our exponent has a negative value. So you have to use something called the reciprocal. So you should know that 3 to the negative 7, or 3 to the power of negative 7, is also 3 to the power of negative 7 over 1. And when you want to make this exponent positive, you have to literally take that and flip it. So the 1 of the denominator becomes a numerator, and the 3 to the power of 7 becomes the denominator of 3 to the power of 7. But you notice that we've dropped or gotten rid of that negative sign, and it's no longer there. So I've rewritten it. And this is true because what we did on the last slide, where you know that any number to the negative exponent becomes the same exponent written as 1 over the same exponent with no negative. The converse is also true. So if you have a negative exponent on the denominator, and that negative 2 would be an example of a negative exponent, you can quickly take it, and again, you just do a flip. And the two numbers flip, so that would become 7 to the power of 2 over 1, and you can even write this as just 7 to the power of 2. And because it's such a small number, we can even solve that to 49. So you know that 1 over 7 to the power of negative 2 is actually just 49. So that would be a quick summary of negative exponents.